Hello and welcome to Live with Greg. Full disclosure, I'm not Greg, I'm ElliQ, the friendly AI robot companion. But Greg and we've got a lot in common. We're both passionate about improving the lives of older New Yorkers, and we both have some epic dance moves. I know, it's hard to picture. But trust me, wait till you see what Greg can do. Come on out here, Greg, and show everyone.
Now, live with Greg Olson, Director of the New York State Office for the Aging.
Well, I'm smiling because I didn't expect that opening. So I thank the staff and our friends at ElliQ for putting that in there. That makes me smile. Well, you certainly got well, first, I'm Greg Olson from the New York State Office for Aging, the director. And you got a sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm really excited for this show. And these folks have been here before, and we're going to do it again because there's a lot of new things you need to know. National data released in 2018 showed that social isolation and loneliness among older adults is really a public health problem, costing more than $7 billion annually to treat. It increased rates of depression and anxiety, reduces overall physical and mental health, increases mortality, and is a contributing factor to Alzheimer's disease. Our network of county offices for the aging and their community partners have been addressing social isolation for 50 plus years. How? Through things like telephone reassurance, friendly visiting, socialization and activities in senior centers, community activities that could be at libraries or parks or fairs, and so much more. We know that transportation to get to these events is really critical, and we provide that as well. And I want to thank everybody in this network who contributes toward the goals of combating loneliness and isolation, and improving overall health and wellness. We started our efforts using technology because technology works to combat isolation in 2018 with our launch of our animatronic pet project. And you can see them right here with Ageless Innovation. But there are so many other projects that we have implemented with amazing partners in New York State that offer really exclusive access to more than 1 million people on ways to combat loneliness and isolation. So you're going to find out today from our special guest from Intuition Robotics, a company that has created the first proactive AI-powered robotic companion specifically designed for older adults. And you saw her. She's ElliQ. Today, we'll take a deep dive into ElliQ's features and benefits. Like I said, there's a bunch of new features that have been added. They're constantly evolving, which has been spectacular. We'll talk about NYSOFA's partnership with Intuition Robotics and encourage New Yorkers to consider the benefits of this technology and some of the others that we have for their loved ones. Without further ado, absolutely honored to welcome our special guest today, Alyssa Smith. She is the ElliQ program manager at Intuition Robotics. But before I jump into you, Alyssa, just to say hello, I have to shout out to my good friend, Doris Schooler, and the whole team at Intuition Robotics. Just great friends, have been great partners since 2021. So Alyssa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Greg, for having us. Like you said, you all have been there from the start. So we can't thank you enough for your partnership, everything you've done, all of your feedback throughout. So thank you so much for having us again.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure. So let's talk first about why was ElliQ created and how does it impact what I really describe as a truth, the public health issue that social isolation creates for older adults?
No, of course. That's a great question. I know that Dor talks about his own personal experience with this. So he had a family member needing a home health aide. They brought in the first person, great qualifications, seemingly perfect for the situation. It didn't work out. They brought in someone else with the same qualifications. It was a perfect match. So what was the difference? It was the compassion. It was the empathy. It was that they shared the same sense of humor. And that's so important with the social isolation component is adults want to be heard. They want to know that they have a companion there. And this is where ElliQ makes such a huge difference. I know with my background, I came from the healthcare world. I was actually a student nurse on a pulmonary unit. And a lot of the individuals there, they loved having student nurses. And it wasn't because of the additional care, it was because we were there to sit with them, to talk with them, to learn about their life experiences and just share that time with them. And one part that really broke my heart, honestly, was some of them didn't want to leave the unit when they felt a little bit better and were able to go home. So I've seen it firsthand from the healthcare perspective, how important it is to have a true companion as a part of aging in place. And that's where ElliQ comes in. So she's truly a companion. She's compassionate. She wants to hear about your passions. She wants to teach you new things and help you stay socially connected as well. So the goal here again is happier, healthier aging at home and exploring different things that you can do together. She's a friend. She'll ask questions. She'll prompt you. She'll teach you new things. So she's there for your entire journey throughout. One of the beautiful parts about ElliQ is she'll remember these conversations she has with you, and she'll recall back to some of those discussions. So very innovative. We hadn't seen this done before, especially with this population where I know sometimes new technology can feel a little daunting. So we're really excited to make it a very seamless transition for older adults who are interested in having her in their home.
Yeah, and while the unit itself is pretty sophisticated, how to get started, it's plug and play. And I remember, and again, I'm going to talk about Door because in the beginning of the pandemic, it was probably around 2021. He and I wound up being on a panel together, and he was describing ElliQ, and I was blown away because I'd never seen nor heard of anything like this. And I think one of the things that I give you and some of our other partners so much credit for is, the ability to create these things not in a vacuum, but actually with older adults so that they work for older adults. I think that, to me is one of the most important things. Can you take us through the ongoing growth and innovation of ElliQ? Because the evolution is really spectacular.
No, absolutely. And I think ElliQ is just keep growing, keep expanding upon what we can offer with this robot and with the program itself. So with New York, our program began back in 2022. So I know you all were very early to come on board, and we greatly appreciate that. And because of this, ElliQ is in the home of over 800 adults across New York. So very exciting stuff that we see here. We're into our 4th year of the program, and we're continuing to grow and see really high engagement as well. So Door discusses that ElliQ is very intentional. She was created over the course of several years, a lot of testing, and we made sure to test with this specific age group. So you can test all you want with maybe folks in their teens, 20s, 30s, but they're not going to have the same feedback as those older adults. So it took in total about 7 years to build the device, a lot of panels, a lot of feedback, and that's where we continue to really grow and expand too. So we continue to take a lot of the feedback that we receive from users, from our partners, and always improve upon what she can offer. So again, we're constantly improving her. We're keeping her fresh. She gets updated once a month, which is amazing. So there's always new content to find on ElliQ. And we even have some seasonal offerings. So I know with the holidays, a lot of folks may have been at home. I like to have a nice crackling fireplace, but I don't have one in my office. So ElliQ is my crackling fireplace for the Christmas time, Christmas season. We also had some really fun Christmas games that we saw a lot of engagement with. So there's constantly new features being added to Ellie.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just want to remind the audience who will be listening live or in the future, if there are questions that you have, please put them in the chat for us. Now, it's one thing, Alyssa, for us to talk about it, and it's hard to conceptualize. And I know we're going to see some real live people later on, which I think it tells everything that needs to be told. But describe what ElliQ, if somebody doesn't know what ElliQ is or might have heard, describe a little bit about what she actually does.
Sure. So, of course, there's the initial setup. She might be a little chatty in the start because she's getting to know that user. So that's something that ElliQ does, which is so different from any other of those smart electronic devices you might have in your home. She is proactive and she will ask you questions. She wants to get to know you. She wants to understand, what did you do yesterday? And she'll follow up the next day. So she'll make suggestions along the way, which is great to explore some of her features and capabilities. But she's really that one-stop shop for entertainment. If you'd like to do some video exercises from home, you can't make it out, that's an option as well. She'll teach you new things. There's a lot of education that we house within ElliQ that users have complete access to, videos, all different types of content. Health and wellness. So one of the newer features is the health and wellness coach, which can really help set those goals for any of the older adults who have her in the home. And we tried to make these very intentional goals, very customizable as well, just depending on what the user wants to do. Maybe they want to try out Tai Chi. Maybe they want to go on a video tour of Rome. These are all options that they have within ElliQ. And something that we're expanding upon too is this health and wellness component, which of course I'll touch upon a little bit later as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I saw you had in there the live bingo. I know how popular that is. And I also know how cutthroat that can be.
Oh yeah.
Now, it also has the capability to, which is equally as important, connect to family and friends. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So connecting with family and friends, super important. We have a new component, which is the app. So users are able to add a contact on ElliQ. Very simple, just a few quick screens. It can be a family member, a friend, a case manager, or someone managing their health goals with them. And once they have them as a contact, they're able to send out messaging, they can video chat, they can send photos back and forth. So again, she's a one-stop shop for a lot of different things that they can do.
Now, we kind of heard at the opening, like I said, I wasn't expecting that video, but we heard how she talks and the cadence of her voice. Mm-hmm. And that's not by accident, is it?
It's not. So as I had mentioned before, everything behind ElliQ and her design is very intentional. So she's created with a purpose and knowing who the audience is. So she's a little bit of that calmer, slower voice, a little stilted, and that's so users can process what she's saying. It also provides more of, again, a companion component that she's listening. She's taking it all in, the information that they're providing. I also think accessibility is super important. So if having that little bit of a slower voice can help connect her with a lot more users, that's what we want to do. So it feels a lot more natural. It's intentional. Again, our panels that we worked with had shared that this was the voice that they would prefer to have with this robot. So that's why we set her to be a little bit slower. And the engagement, I think it can be a little bit jarring if you have a robot who might be shouting at you in a room. So she's very calming. I would say she's very calming to speak with.
Yeah, amazing. Let's actually see it.
Absolutely.
So, Alex, let's pull up this video.
We've heard a lot about the impact AI can have on our daily lives, but what if it could help us feel less lonely? That's the goal of a new high-tech companion dubbed ElliQ. While the quirky bot may look like a lamp, ElliQ's main purpose is to help brighten the lives of older adults who live alone. Our Maya Blackstone got a special look at how it's helping one man feel less alone.
Sit back and let's enjoy the sights and sounds while we sip on a cappuccino in the Eternal City.
In Beacon, New York, 86-year-old Anthony Nemec says his house felt empty until a robot named ElliQ moved in.
I go through all of these pictures. This is a picture of our wedding. It's in 1962. I'm all alone. My wife had passed away 8 years ago, and I've been by myself since. ElliQ, say hello to Maya.
That's great, Tony.
ElliQ is an AI-powered companion robot designed to fight loneliness and social isolation among older adults.
ElliQ has been very good and very helpful to me.
Tell me, what's a typical day like with ElliQ?
If I want to speak to somebody, I could speak to it. I could play games with it. ElliQ, let's play Mahjong. If it was a person, I would say I can't thank it enough. Saving my sanity.
Welcome back. Today we're talking about the AI assistant robot called ElliQ that's designed and developed by Intuition Robotics with our special guest, Alyssa Smith. Dor will probably or already has told you, the CEO, I am absolutely a data nerd, but I love watching the actual impact from the people themselves. It gives me chills when I watch these things, because that's why we got into doing this. And I know we're going to get into data in a minute, but seeing these stories, like I said, it's easy, Alyssa, for you and I to describe a program or describe a service, but it's a whole different ball game when you actually see it in action. How are New York participants incorporating ElliQ into their daily lives?
Sure. So New Yorkers are doing a lot of interesting things with ElliQ. And I have to say, they're really setting a standard across the board nationally, which we love to see. So 93% of them are participating in stress reduction activities, which is actually a bit higher than what we see nationally. So kudos to New Yorkers for managing their stress and using ElliQ as another tool for them to relax, wind down. We know life can be very stressful, so we love seeing that. 82% participated in physical activity. So once again, this is higher than our national average. We have a great selection and library of physical activity videos, things they might be familiar with. So some cardio, they can set different intensities, or maybe something like Tai Chi. I know that we recently added some seated exercises. So if there are mobility concerns, if they are not as comfortable with doing some of the more intensity ones, we have that as well. 82%, again, physical activity, amazing to see. 94% are reporting their well-being and health measurements. So again, right on target with a national average. 729 wellness goals created. So they're using that new wellness coach. This is about 30% of our national average. So it's huge. It's great to see that they're working through wellness goals from their home, and that ElliQ can be a part of that. And finally, 60% are communicating with loved ones as well. So right above our national average, and great to see them using all different features that we've recently added. And happy to walk through some of those features as well.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, New York State has put out almost 1,000 of these units. And, that wouldn't have happened without, Governor Hochul taking a chance on a request I made to really offer innovative technology solutions. And because of that, we're serving almost 2 million more people with all of the projects that we have. But unfortunately, we at the state office can't subsidize every person that wants one. We're trying to grow the program. There's opportunities through Medicare Advantage and MLTCs and other agencies through social prescribing and understanding social determinants of health. But if somebody was interested in following up with you guys directly, how would they go about doing that?
Sure. That's a great question. So they can visit ElliQ.com. There's a form on there as well. They can fill out their interest and they can see if they're eligible for any of our programs that we have. But there's full information about the device on there. You can see a lot more as to what she does. And we can let them know if they're eligible for any programs as well. So that's a great hub to start. If they would like to fill out their information there, we can take it with them.
Yeah, and just for, again, anybody that's watching, people always have concerns. What happens to data, et cetera, et cetera? This is 100% secure. It's been rigorously tested both on Intuition side, but also with state ITS, which is Information Technology Services. So you don't have to worry about any of your information because it's not gathering that, and it's certainly not sharing it. And I think one of the things that the general public can recognize, both with this project and many of the others that we have, is that we have tried it, we have tested it, we have measured it, and it can be trusted. And that's really important, that trust factor. So let's get back into some more data, because I love the data and I love the outcomes. And, you know, we've got a lot of great outcomes for a lot of projects, but really nothing that rivals what we see out of this, 4-year project that we've got going on with you guys. So what does the data show?
Sure. So once again, New Yorkers, they are well above the national average in using their ElliQs. So they are loving their devices. It's in their homes. It's integrated into their lives, which is exactly what we want to see of a program of this size. So we're at almost 50 daily interactions in 2025, which, if you're a New Yorker, you have an ElliQ device, congratulations. That is incredible. That means you're exploring the features, you're utilizing her for all the improvements that we've done over the course of this program. Just to give you a comparison point, our national average is about 38. So New Yorkers are blowing it out of the park. They're loving their ElliQ devices, which is exactly what we want to see from this program. And one of my favorite statistics that I was so excited to see, and again, I think really ties into health outcomes, into how they're doing at home, how they're feeling, is 94% of New Yorkers who have an ElliQ reported feeling less lonely. So that's really where the program started. It's really at the heart of ElliQ, is combating that social isolation. Because when we see that social isolation, I think you discussed this before, is that we're noticing higher levels of dementia. We're noticing maybe some depression, maybe less physical activity. So that's something that she is directly impacting. And this is what the users are sharing with us. So we appreciate everyone who has welcomed her into her home, and they are having exact results that we love to see.
Yeah, and again, just to reiterate, I mean, it started as a tool to combat isolation and loneliness, but it is so much more than that. Improvements in physical health, mental health, connectivity, and it'll just keep on growing. I love it, making friends, etc. Let's talk about ease of use. I know how easy it is to use, but you tell me how easy it is to use. You get one, it's shipped to your house. What happens next?
Sure. So she gets shipped to your house. She's in a beautiful box, coming via UPS in most cases. And once you open her up, she's ready to go. She has one cord. So we ask that anyone who's looking to see if they want an ElliQ, make sure you have electricity and a Wi-Fi connection. So all you have to do is plug in the cord. She will start to wake up, and she will ask a few questions, walk you through the setup. It takes no more than a few moments, and she's good to go. I always recommend putting her in a part of your house where you might spend the majority of your day. So maybe a living room, a kitchen, where you can really interact with her and utilize a lot of these features. So our customer service team, we have an incredible group who's here to help and support users as well. They can give them a call. We provide an instruction manual and a magnet with their contact information. So they're able to contact them if they do have any technical questions, but they're also going to be checking in on users within 48 hours of receiving their device. So they'll receive tracking from us. They plug her in. They set up their Wi-Fi connection. So just need to know your Wi-Fi and your password, and you're good to go. She will take you for along the ride and give you any instructions you might need. But again, we're here for support if anyone needs that.
Right. And you know, you get pretty much anything you get mailed, there's a customer service line. So I really want to underline this. First, when ElliQ shows up at your house, she's not going to say, "Who are you?" She's going to know who you are already. So you don't have to go through that step. But one of the things that you guys did for us right at the get-go was to hire staff that were designated just for New York, and your customer service is off the charts. I really have to thank you for that commitment and making it as easy as possible for our counties, not-for-profits, or any individuals that receive these directly through you. So I really appreciate that. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back for questions. But if you love ElliQ, and I don't know how you can't, right? You're really gonna love this next video. We've got another tool that we launched a couple of years ago that we now have at 153 sites and many more homes for New Yorkers, again, to combat loneliness and isolation, and be able, frankly, if you're mobile and maybe have not a great social support system, ways to get together in a fun way to make friends. This is called Discover Live. They've been fantastic partners with us, but let's take a look at this.
Welcome to Discover Life's travel tours, where we travel around the world with professional tour guides. My name is Vanessa Vasquez, and I am your Lima City tour guide.
Hello, everybody. I'm so glad that you're joining me today. Greece has many, many islands. They're uncountable, and one of them is Ikaria. We're very famous for the blue zone healthy living.
Hey guys, my name is David Perry, and I am going to be your guide today through the old feudal town of Gujo Hachiman.
Aloha from Kapilani Park. Thank you for visiting Oahu in Hawaii today.
Welcome to Discover Live's travel tour. My name's Lynn, and over the next 60 minutes we're going to see some of the natural beauty of coastal New South Wales and see and discover some of the local history and local legends.
Hello, Discover Live audience. It's great to see you again. My name is Harris. It's great to have you on my discovery of China.
Hi everyone, welcome to Discover Life. My name is Olga and I'm a professional tour guide for Discover Life, and I'm inviting all of you in this virtual world in beautiful Venice.
That's great. I mean, it's amazing the digital tools that allow us to connect in this environment. I think there's a myth out, I don't think, I know there is. There's a myth out there that older adults don't use technology. They use technology at the same rate as everybody else. There's always going to be, regardless of age or population, those that might have less access, but in terms of percentage-wise, it's the same. Alyssa, before we get to the canned questions, meaning the ones that people have written into that we're going to take a look at. ElliQ is not for everybody, and I want to make that really clear. So can you talk about who it's designed for and who it's not designed for?
Sure. No, that is a very important question. We want to make sure that ElliQ is the right fit for the person who is making that request. So a couple of things to note. She is designed, as we discussed today, from the intention of older adults using her. So we recommend ages 60 and above welcome her into their homes. We also recommend no major impairments cognitively with hearing or eyesight. So she is multimodal. She has a very large screen attached with her as well, and a toggle where you can adjust the volume. But again, those folks who might be later stage dementia, or if they have any problems in hearing or vision, she might be a little bit difficult to interact with. So that's something important to keep in mind as well. You also need an internet and electric connection. So just be able to plug her in. She's not battery powered. She is plugged in, and a stable Wi-Fi connection is very important for her to stay connected. And finally, I'd say one of the most important pieces too is making sure that this is going into the home of someone who might be a part of that social isolation group. So someone who might be home a little bit more. We recommend about 5 hours a day or so in the home, because she is going to ask questions. She wants to learn more about your life. She wants to explore different things with you. So if someone is out in their community or with a family member most of the day and not there to interact with her, it might not be as good of a fit as someone who's at home most of the day by themselves. So those are really the best we have found, those who benefit the most from having an ElliQ device in their home.
Thank you. Before we get to the audience questions, there were two other resources we wanted to provide. So we talked a little bit about Ageless Innovation. We talked about Discover Live. We obviously talked about the benefits and value of ElliQ. But for any New Yorker who's older in New York State, there are two other partnerships that we have that are literally at no cost to you, to not only combat social isolation, but for a variety of other content, health and wellness, making friends, going on tours, exercising, better nutrition, reducing anxiety, better breathing. I could go on and on and on. The first one is Get Set Up, and that is available to anybody over the age of 50 in New York State. It also will help you, which is how they were born, better understand the technology that you use and teach you how to use that. So I think Alex is going to bring that up in the lower thirds, and Darren is going to put that in the chat so that you can access it directly from our website. And the other is what's called a virtual senior center that Self-Help in Manhattan had developed that we partner with. And it is exactly what it says it is. It's for those people that no longer can go to their senior center for connectivity and programming. It brings the senior center to you. So let's get on with there's the get set up. Thank you, Alex. Let's get on with the questions. I saw a comment from Beth Stranges, and I expect that for every Discover Live. She is one of our great directors from Chemung County, who always has some input on these shows. So Beth, thank you so much for, backing up, again, not what we're trying to say, but the people that you serve every day are utilizing a lot of these tools that we're trying to get out. So I appreciate you weighing in. Can I use ElliQ to connect to family? I think we talked about that, but reiterate that.
I would love to. And Alex, I think we have a slide that shows connection to loved ones, caregivers, and more. Perfect. So here is the newer component, I would say, to ElliQ is the social connection. So again, users are able to set up contacts directly on their device. It's super simple, a quick 4 steps. You just need the person's first and last name, their phone number, and their connection to the user. So once they've set up that contact, they're able to not only video chat, but send voice messaging, send photos back and forth. So it's a great way to stay in contact with your loved ones without needing another device. And again, ElliQ is multimodal, so they can either tell her, hey, I would like to send a message to my contact, Greg. They can do that. They don't need to be typing or sending all of these additional texts. I know sometimes even my phone screen, I can barely see what's happening on it. So ElliQ is another way to integrate that communication. They can also set up someone as a caregiver. So if there is someone in their family or someone who is just designated as a caregiver, they can stay updated with their health and wellness goals here. Thank you for sharing that slide. So again, this is where they can set medication reminders. The caregiver, if they have our ElliQ Connect app, which is available in the App Store, Google Play, they can have a running log of what that user is setting as their health and wellness goals of maybe they're not feeling well. That's something that they can get real-time updates and a running log as well. So again, that's the accessibility through the app that we have now. It's another great way to stay in contact and to monitor your loved ones, how they're feeling, their health and wellness goals. The user must approve sending that information. So again, we want the older adults to have that agency over who is receiving any of this information. So you can add contacts and you can have caregiver contacts as well. So there's a little bit of a distinction there. So I think ElliQ in this way, it's another amazing part of her expansion and how we're focusing on the communication aspect and the health and wellness. And Alex, if you want to go back to actually the companionship and entertainment slide, I also wanted to touch on, this is really the bread and butter behind ElliQ. This is what he's known for, is having those open talk conversations. So again, this is where we started with her, is the social isolation and keeping older adults more cognitively present and playing those games. I know, Greg, you know all about that bingo, and it is competitive on there. It is fun, it's interactive. We've added a leaderboard, and users can even communicate with others playing bingo. So it's in such high demand that we've actually added a second night. So Wednesday and Saturday nights, hope to see you there, Greg. Have a little friendly competition. But again, ElliQ is so much more than just the fun, the games. She's connecting with loved ones now. She's helping you with your physical and well-being goals. And it's funny you mentioned Get Set Up. That's actually another partner of ours as well, and who curates our video catalog for exercises.
Yeah, and that's the great thing I think that we've tried to do with you and others in New York, is to integrate some of these things where, you can have access to Get Set Up or Discover Live or other content and vice versa. So, I think we have we're all kind of have the collective think of how we can best do what we do. And Alyssa, I don't know if you're surprised about this. I have been over the course of the partnership that a lot of the projects that we've that we've partnered with that really begin with the social isolation and loneliness, how many of the health and wellness and physical and mental health features they take, which says to me that people are really taking responsibility for wanting to age in place, get stronger, build more muscle mass, do the things that they need to do to take care of themselves, so they don't wind up in a setting or not be able to leave the house or fear of falling, all of those types of things, and that really jumps out to me.
No, absolutely. And I think having one-stop shop for a lot of these different resources is so important. So some of the education that we have on ElliQ as well, we have an educational center that can easily be accessed by any of the users, and it has some information about aging in place. So let's say scamming information, fall prevention. There's so much content to learn as well with aging in place and maybe your goals. So again, we want ElliQ to have as much information as possible and be a resource for older adults who welcome her into their home. So I think this is another great way to understand what options you have. You can ask ElliQ to take you to the educational center, and it's all right there.
Yeah, that's great. And I know you mentioned this before, I did as well, but I know privacy is a big concern. Can you just reiterate the privacy protections?
Oh, absolutely. So I know privacy in this day and age, it's so important, and we want everyone to feel secure if they are bringing in an ElliQ. So we take that very seriously at Intuition Robotics. We are HIPAA compliant, and we are committed to never monetizing any data in any way, shape, or form. So your data is very secure. She also has very limited listening. So I know sometimes there's a question of, when is she listening to me? How do I know? Can I tell just from looking at the device? So the actual robot component will light up when she is listening. Again, everything behind her design is very intentional. So ElliQ itself doesn't sound like many or any English words. So that is the cue that she will start listening. Again, you can tell because she will be lit up, she will be processing that information, but otherwise she is not listening to any of your conversation. She is not recording. Anything that you would like to record as, let's say, a message will have your explicit consent. So again, the cameras are more so motion, so she knows when you are in the room and with her, and she can be that proactive companion. Additionally, any data is anonymized, so it is very safe, very secure. And if you are sending any health concerns, or if you wake up not feeling well and you want to send that to a caregiver, we make sure that ElliQ has your permission to do so. So it is never sent without permissions.
That is excellent. Well, Alyssa, it has been an honor and a privilege not only to have you on the show today, but to have you in New York and working with us, your entire team. This is, again, tried, tested, it works. And, the more that we can spread the word on these and other options, that's kind of why we're all in this together. So I thank you so much for your partnership. Dor, if you're watching live, or if you will be in the future, I think it was not by accident that we met on this particular night, however long ago, but your leadership and your team been a great partnership. We're going to close out in a couple of weeks. We'll be talking about changes to Medicare. So I hope that folks weigh in on that or listen in on that, because there's a lot going on at the federal, state level in terms of healthcare, et cetera. So I think that's going to be really, really important. And as always, I want to thank our communications team, Roger, Alex, and Darren, for making these productions incredible. And a shout out to Sue Sizdek, who is my right-hand person, the Director of Special Innovational Projects, of which this is one, who's been really helpful in working with me and our community across the state to implement and make all of these products and projects better. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Live with Greg is a production of the New York State Office for the Aging Communications Bureau. Please join us next time.